Hi, I'm Alex. I'm the Devil's Advocate. I cover pop culture on here with a leftist point of view. And man, we are covering Andor and episodes 7, 8, and 9, which is about Ghorman. Now, I have heard that this Ghorman massacre is a big inciting incident in the formation of the rebellion. I think it comes from rebels, or maybe even legends territory, but I've heard that this was a thing. And so, as soon as people heard the name Ghorman, especially in the beginning of the season at the Imperial Summit, they knew what was coming. And boy, I did not. I could assume, but I didn't know how graphic they were going to be, and they were graphic. So let's get some of these story beats out of the way. First, we see Andor and Bix are living on Yavin. The Yavin base is built. It's here. The rebels are operating out of it. A lot of the factions seem to have coalesced and are working together. Willem's back here. I don't know if he's sent by Saw, if he was with Saw this whole past year. Andor and Bix kind of treat him like their son and are like, where were you this whole, where were you? And it's revealed he was on Ghorman. Bix and Andor have this interesting scene in the evening where they're kind of just wandering around, like getting some dinner, and they see a Force healer, and she's like healing wounds, and she's treated like a fortune teller, kind of, because Andor doesn't believe in the Force, and Bix is like, oh, I kind of do a little bit. Let's see what's going on. And this woman just like senses him, turns around, comes to where they're standing, touches his shoulder where he has a blaster burn, and just says something like, you're important, you clearly have a destiny. It feels good to feel this certain, because she senses his like conviction to the mission. And she's kind of surprised that they can't feel it. Like can't you feel that he's important? He's supposed to be somewhere. And he walks off, and Bix is talking to her, and the Force healer is like, maybe he's supposed to be with you. And that kind of sets up where that's going to leave off at the end of these 3 episodes. But it was just kind of interesting to see how, like, I didn't even think they were going to touch the Force or Jedi at all in this series, which would have been fine. But I like how they incorporated it in such a way that gives us this feeling of A New Hope, where it is kind of seen as like a hokey old religion. No one really believes in it anymore, even though it's been 20 years only, or even 15 years since the Empire destroyed all the Jedi. That's how effective the propaganda has been. That's how effective the Empire has been at erasing the memory of of Jedi and the Force at large. So that was really cool. It's just really cool to see Yavin and how they live there, and like a day in the life of a rebel soldier on the base. Like, that's pretty cool. Then we get into the meat of these 3 episodes, which is Ghorman. So Willem informs Andor and Bix that he found who was responsible for Ferrex, and that is Dedra Meero. So she's on Ghorman. She comes out to the plaza at least twice a day. We can get a shot at her. And like, they're trying to do this as like a way to get closure. Bix doesn't want to go. She doesn't want Andor to go. She's like, leave it. This is more important. The rebellion is more important. Like, we'll get her eventually when we win. And Andor's like, yeah, but I want to go kill this motherfucker. So they go. Bix stays behind. They go to Ghorman. And on Ghorman, we see that the Liberation Front is in full force. They've gotten more members. It's also like we see that the change from the last time we saw. I love how they've shown us Ghorman over these 2 seasons, because they mention it in season 1 that there's a trade blockade and people are starving. Mon Mothma says that to her husband, and her husband's like, I don't care. And we've seen it in the beginning of this season that the Empire has already decided what's going to happen to the planet. Like, we're going to try and maybe not have to massacre everybody, but like, we're going to plan for that too. And how over these 3 years, because each batch of episodes is a year, how the Ghormans have tried to resist. Luthen's tried to foment that resistance, but also is like, well, if they do all die, then, you know, it'll be very public and that will rally more people to our cause. Win-win kind of for him, and how kind of ruthless he is. Adopting the tools of his enemy, he says in that great speech in season 1. We also see that Willman's taken a liking to one of the resistance fighters. He clearly has a type, which is blondes. That's kind of neat to see. And that he's embedded and he is all about this. He is willing to die for these people. But, you know, he wants to get this one last Imperial that screwed with Ferrix. So Andor, they check into the hotel that Andor checked into last batch when they were just going to check on Ghorman, see how they're doing. And we meet the bellhop again. And I don't think I mentioned it in my last review, but this bellhop gives Andor a little bit of history of what I think a lot of fans thought was the Ghorman massacre, which is Grand Moff Tarkin was trying to land his ship. I think I mentioned this part, but not that it came from the bellhop. Grand Moff Tarkin was trying to land his ship. There was protesters, so he just landed his ship on top of the protesters. One of them was his father, and so Andor recognizes, like, okay, you have a spark in you. We can maybe work on this relationship. And when he gets there in this season, yeah, the bellhop's like, yeah, I'm going to check you in. I'm not going to log it in the book. Don't worry, I got your back. We even get a moment with this bellhop where he says to Andor as he's leaving, Andor says something about hope, and the bellhop says, rebellions are built on hope. So I love that line that's in Rogue One comes from this lowly bellhop who does his part. The massacre is happening. He made some bombs and is throwing them out, killed some stormtroopers, sacrifices him like he's gonna die. But that line sticks with Andor, and he says it to Jyn Erso in Rogue One, and then Jyn Erso says it to the Council, and that is what gives them the little bit of leverage that they need to get off the planet, go to Scarif, get the plans for the Death Star, give it to fucking Leia. Everything's connected. This show's great. The phrase, I have friends everywhere, it is like very communist, like comrades. We get a moment with Luthen in this 3 episodes where he reveals that, like, that's his catchphrase. Not catchphrase, but like secret phrase to let people know that who are working for him that they're supposed to be working together. So that's really cool. This like secret code language. Andor and Willem get there. Syril's there. Syril, we get this little moment now. Jesse Gender, shout out Jesse Gender, has pointed out that Tony Gilroy said that this series, Andor, was supposed to be 5 seasons. Season 1, and then each of these batches of 3 episodes was supposed to be its entire, like a 9-episode season. I wish we got that. I wish Disney didn't cut the cord too early, because, oh my god, this is the best show on television. They accidentally got Game of Thrones, and you could have done so much more with this. You could have, oh my god. The frustration, I'm going to go on a rant, but they nailed it with doing these 3. There's things I wish we got a little more of, like Syril and this resistance fighter who he may like have cheated on Dedra with, or at least wants to leave with her. Clearly last batch we got a little bit of idea that Syril might be not totally on board with the Empire's plan, and here he's fully like not in open rebellion, but he's very questioning of what's going on. He's clearly made friends with the Liberation Front. He's clearly like, okay, when are we going to arrest people? Like, there's a scene with him and Dedra going like, when are we arresting people? How much evidence do you need? Like, what is going on here? And Dedra's just like, soon, honey, soon we're going to leave. We're going to forget all this. We're going to go to Coruscant. We'll live our lives. We're going to be rewarded for this. Please just wait. And you can see her manipulation of him when he starts to question. She just kisses him just to get him to shut up and just go do his job. And you see his faith breaking all 3 episodes. So the plan is for Andor and Willem is to wait and see Dedra at the plaza and sniper, and Syril is just kind of like confused and wandering around. We get into episode 8, and episode 8 is the massacre. They've set up barricades in the plaza and they've allowed people to come protest. Right away, Syril is questioning why they're allowing people here, kind of realizes what's going on, gets into his office building that they're operating out of, that the military is operating out of, to go confront Dedra. They put him in like a side room that's full of KX droids, which are K2SO droids. So clearly this is where he comes in, which is interesting that they're doing it like this. We knew that K2SO was going to appear in the series and we're going to get his origin, but I did not expect it like this. So Syril's fully like trapped now. And we even get like this really great moment with the Imperial supervisor who initially came to like search Syril's office for bugs, is the one who put him in the like side office with other like officials being guarded by the KX bots. Basically like, you're not going to make any trouble and we're also going to keep you safe. This guy, then they have Imperial military show up who are basically like cops, and the commanding officer is telling this Imperial officer, hey, these are like kids right out of the academy. Like, they're not ready for combat. Like, what is going on? And they're like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's all going according to plan. You'll be fine. And you even see like his waver, like, what? And not so much like I'm going to rebel against the Empire, but just like questioning what they're doing, because no one knows the real plan except for Dedra and the commander, the military commander who's there as well, knows the actual plan. And then we get to see the actual plan. So the Ghorman have been debating in their bunker, like, what do we do? Do we do more like outside action? Do we try to foment more? Like, what is going on? And they realize they're running out of time. We see this planet over the course of these blocks of episodes, and even since season 1, be more and more colonized by the Empire, which happens in real life, just like Gaza right now, just like Poland in the 30s and 40s, just like so many history examples of colonization and extermination, which is what they're planning here. So what they do is they have the protest, right? The Ghorman go out and they decide like, hey, we all need to be one people, one voice. And they go out there to protest and they're chanting like, we are the Ghor. One of them, who we've seen before, starts singing the national anthem that they wrote, like the showrunners wrote. Like the attention to detail and culture in this show is unparalleled in Star Wars, but in any other fucking show either. I've not mentioned all these little tiny character moments, but even if a character gets one scene or a handful of scenes, we get this character. Like some of these Ghorman Liberation Front, we've only got a handful of scenes with them, but we know who these people are for the most part. We've only seen the bellhop now twice, but we get who he is. I'm going to talk about him a little more later, but Mon Mothma's assistant, we only saw him at the wedding, and we know that his mother is Ghorman. That's all we need to know. The last batch, he's just with Mon Mothma, so we get that he's on the side of her and the rebellion. And in this batch, we get that he's also a spy for Luthen. Like, even a tiny little ancillary side character gets an arc, gets development. The writing on this show is the best. They're protesting. The Ghormans are protesting. They send out the inexperienced young squad of Imperials as like riot cops to clear a path towards this monument in the center of the plaza. And clearly, they are sent to be cannon fodder. They are, on purpose, inexperienced, so they will be scared and react poorly. They have Imperial snipers around the plaza. One of the snipers shoots one of the Imperial cops as a false flag. We are seeing a false flag take place. He shoots one of the cops. They don't know where the shot came from. They shoot one of the Ghormans who is on the monument. All hell breaks loose. People are throwing rocks. They're trying to beat up the cops. The cops are shooting wildly into the crowd, killing innocents. The rebel cell in there are picking up their weapons. Like, well, shit, we gotta fucking shoot back. The stormtroopers are blocking off the exit behind them. It is mayhem. Meanwhile, Andor is trying to get a shot on Dedra on the balcony. It's total chaos. Syril's out there. Syril's seeing TIE fighters fly overhead. He is finally realizing that this was the plan all along. That because Syril gets out of the office somehow and confronts Dedra and is like, "This is it. You were just gonna massacre everybody the whole time," and she is still trying to put on this like Imperial, unbuttoned up front, but he starts strangling her. Like, he's pushing her and strangles her, and we see how quickly that air of superiority crumbles with just a little bit of violence, just a touch of violence, even from a weak man like Syril. And she confesses, like, yes, this was always the plan. There's something in the ground the Emperor needs. We're going to get it regardless. This was going to happen. And Cyril's just disgusted with her, says good luck, leaves, and is just wandering around in the chaos of this massacre, this genocide. When he spots Andor. Now, the whole time, Andor is trying to get a bead on her. We keep cutting back to him. I'm like, take the shot, take the shot. As soon as he finally gets one, he's tackled by Syril. Syril spots him and is beating the shit out of him. He doesn't even say anything. Andor doesn't say anything. They just have this knockdown, drag-out fight in like a cafe. It's amazing fight choreography because it seemed really brutal, and it is. Cyril's getting all his anger out. This is the man that started him on the path to where he is now, to doing what he's done, helping what he's helped create, which is this massacre. He's just beating on Andor. They drop a gun. Syril picks it up. It has it trained on him. It says, like, you are the cause of all this. It says something to him. Actually, I don't even think he does. I don't even think he says anything. He's just vibrating with fury. And Andor just looks up confused and goes, who are you? And that's when Syril starts to lower the weapon. Because he realizes that he is not important. This crusade he's gone on to put these people in jail. No one cares. No one cares about his mission. No one cares about putting bad people in jail and saving good people. The Empire just does what the Empire does. They don't give a shit. Andor doesn't give a shit. He doesn't even remember you, dude. He didn't even remember. It was 5 years ago. You haven't seen him since. You have been driven by him. And he has been driven by rebellion. And we almost see like he's going to put the gun down and maybe Andor can talk to him, because Andor would do that. Andor would try and convince him, hey, you're you're Imperial, but you know what's happening here is wrong. Come with me. Like, we were about to get that moment. And the leader of the Ghorman front, who realized what was happening, tried to get them all to stop and go home, realizes he can't, and just tries to help Andor here. Shoots Syril in the head, unceremoniously. The last words he hears are, who are you? Which is such a good wrap up of his character. Because who are you? Are you a cop on Ferrix? Are you an Imperial office manager? Are you a spy? Are you a rebel? What are you even? Oh my god, the writing of this fucking show. So Andor is trying to get out now. Now it's whatever. We can't get Dedra. There's too much chaos. We out. He tries to find Wilman. They're confused in the chaos. And then we see the release of the droids, the KX droids, and boy, they are scary. Like, he's funny. K2SO is funny in Rogue One, and we see how powerful he is, but he's on our side, so we don't really get that scariness of an Imperial droid. We get it a little bit in season 1 when Cassian is captured and goes to Narkina 5, when the thing just puts him up against the wall with no effort. But here we see the full terror, because they are just picking people up and throwing them. One of the main Ghorman front people, the one who Syril may have had like a little affection for, and maybe they were developing a relationship, she's just picked up and thrown across the plaza, hits the ground, dead immediately. We see, and it's chilling. It's chilling. So they are just like, oh, we gotta run. This is like when the agents show up in the Matrix. Like, there's no more fighting anymore. It is just run and survive. So they're getting out. Andor is being chased by one of these droids. One of the Ghorman liberation guys crashes a tank into him, into the wall, and splits him in half. And then Wilman shows up. Wilman's like, I gotta go find my blonde girl. Like, I can't leave another one behind. And Andor's like, come on, man, we gotta go. And he's like, dude, I can't. This is the rebellion. Like, I might die here. Whatever. That's it. I love what they say to each other. They have a moment when they say, one of them says Ferrix and the other says stone and sky. Like, don't forget where we came from. Our culture matters. And so long as we have that, we are still alive. It's the theme of the episodes with Ghorman. The people saying that, like, if we forget our culture, if we let the Empire strip us of who we are, then what's the point of any of this? What's going to survive of us? So powerful. So Wilman goes off to save his girl. But not even. Like, she's in the bunker broadcasting a radio message being like, here's what's happening on Ghorman. Like, the galaxy needs to know. The galaxy needs to know. They're saying, like, the eyes of the galaxy are watching as they're chanting in the plaza. Oh my God, this was a powerful set of episodes. So Wilman joins her, and she's like, yeah, I'm broadcasting a message, please help. So he's broadcasting too. So that's where they are, and they're willing to die there just to keep broadcasting that message. Andor leaves, but before he leaves, he's like, actually, before him and Wilman separate, he says, wait a minute, can you help me put this droid in the back of this tank? So they load up the droid, and Andor leaves with K2SO. Even in this chaos, he still recognizes the rebellion could use a battle droid like this. Like, he's still on mission. And that's kind of the end of 8. I'm all over the place here. It was a lot happening. Syril's dead. Like, Dedra, actually, at the end of this episode, Dedra breaks down in her office, and we see that, like, we've had repeated scenes of her talking to her supervisor, Pertinaz, whatever his name is, who's a great character, great stand-in for the Emperor. We don't even need to see Palpatine. Like, he is good enough as, like, the voice of the Emperor. And we've seen her, like, over the course of these days leading up to this massacre, get a little more agitated, a little more impatient, and he's noticed, and he's like, stay on mission, you'll be rewarded, don't worry, it's all good, this is what we do. And at the end of this episode, she's in her office, and she's kind of breaking down a little bit, and we see the human that maybe was in there. I don't think she cares about the people. I think she's more worried that Syril died. That's my guess. But even then, like, she doesn't really care that much about Syril, or at least I didn't think so. But maybe that was just this little tether to humanity. Even a sniveling coward like him, they did fit each other pretty well. And maybe she feels a modicum of guilt for him definitely being dead. I don't know. But, and I don't think she's going to turn on the Empire like in the last 3 episodes. I don't know. She might. I doubt it. But at least we see it's this recognition that, like, even the Nazis, even high-ranking Nazis, do still have this, like, oh my God, what have I done moment. even if it's not related to actually the massacre of the people, but like this one person that I care about, or the weight of this whole thing. Like if it's in a boardroom, it's far away. They don't have to think about it. It's all theoretical to them. But it being right in front of them, it does something to you. Because you're still a human being at the end of the day. Even a very evil one. Amazing. Episode 9, we get the fallout. We see how the propaganda, we've seen the news people on Ghorman already being like, there's an insurrection happening. We don't know why this is happening. Who knows? These people are so arrogant. How have they flaunted imperial law? We even get a moment with Syril's mother watching basically Fox News, Imperial News, and crying, sad that her son is probably amongst the dead because they're talking about bringing the Imperial heroes, the martyrs, back home to Coruscant. And she has no idea. She's been blinded by this propaganda. Even her son tried to tell her not to listen to it, not to watch it. This is the result of being an imperial fascist and falling for fascism. Not everyone gets to be redeemed or even deserves redemption. And this is Mon Mothma's big episode. She is going to give a speech in the Senate. They're like, oh, this session, they're not even going to let anybody on the floor to speak. But they have this, like, we understand, and again, I wish this was spread across seasons so we can see this, like, Senate intrigue. I'd take a House of Cards Star Wars, please. But, like, the senators coordinating with each other so that they can get Mon Mothma to speak, even in this session where no one's going to be able to speak. I wish we got to see some of that. That would have been great. Bail Organa's there to help out. He's like, yo, you're going to give this speech and then immediately have to leave Coruscant and, like, everything. And he's got a team ready to help her. And Luthen doesn't trust that team. And he's got his own team, which is Andor. So he sends Andor on this one last... And Andor's like, I'm done. I just saw genocide. Like, I'm done. I want to live my life with Bix. And Bix is like, yeah, I understand that. So he goes on this one last mission, which is to save Mon Mothma. This episode, her speech is so powerful, so prescient in several moments in history, but especially right now. Like, when they were making this show, they didn't know Trump was going to win. They didn't know that Israel was going to be doing a genocide, but they are. And so these words hit so fucking hard. She names it genocide, first of all, which is something that Star Wars has covered since day one with Alderaan, but nobody said the word. And it was also, it's a big ball shooting a laser at another big ball that blows up. Like, I get it. It was 1977. We still get the, Leia, Carrie Fisher could have maybe acted a little harder in that scene, but losing her whole world. But, we've touched on this, but Mon Mothma says it here. She also names the Emperor, says this beast, this roaring beast, if truth dies, then that is the ultimate victory of evil. And it's very true. That's getting rid of the press, getting rid of dissenting voices. That is the point of imperialism, authoritarianism, fascism, killing the truth. So whatever they say becomes the truth. Like, they're already talking about how to spin the Ghorman thing. She names Palpatine, and then she out. She's leaving. We see Bail Organa's team coming to get her. And yes, indeed, Luthen was right. One of them is an Imperial spy. So it's good that he sent Andor. Andor is here. Mon Mothma finds out that from Luthen, when she's like practicing her speech in this beautiful open plaza that I watched the behind the scenes is like in Spain, and they just incorporate it into Coruscant. It works so well. And Luthen meets her here, is like, yo, you can't trust Bail's team. Bail's cool, but like he's not good at this like I am. And also your assistant has been working for me the whole time. So, I got friends everywhere. And that's when we learned that that's his phrase. So she fires him because she's pissed at Luthen. but he's still faithful to her and is like, it's been an honor serving you. She asks when he started working for Luthen, and it was at the wedding. So for the past 2 years, it's because of Ghorman, because his mother's Ghorman, and that's all we needed to know about him. There's writing in this show. We see him see Andor, and they say the phrase to each other, I have friends everywhere, and so they know, okay, we can work together to get Mon safe. And they do, and they're leaving with Mon Mothma as Bale's team shows up. The female, the spy realizes, like, I gotta just, like, pull out my gun. So she pulls it out, but Andor shoots her right away. And actually, her assistant, because they're in the Senate building. So there's a bunch of people, and there's also reporters trying to get a statement from her and stuff. And the assistant's like, she's not giving any statements right now. Trying to, as cover, and Andor is dressed as a journalist. So they're trying to escort her out. And this lady comes up to grab her. And Mon's assistant screams, she's a rebel spy. And so Andor just shoots her. And there's no time to question. Nobody has time to question. They keep moving. They just get out of there. This reminds me, and because they go out onto like walkways, it reminds me of the first episode of season 1 when Andor's on the planet, the brothel planet, and they have those walkways over the ocean. It's kind of reminiscent of that, like showing how far we've come. And then Mon Mothma's driver, who is a spy as well, an Imperial spy, is coming to get her, because I think he may be having a crisis of conscience, because he realizes that the Empire wants to kill her, and he maybe likes her a little bit, not like romantically, but just like agrees with her, and so he's maybe trying to come save her, but she's walking with Andor, and he doesn't know him, so he just says like, what's his name? And Mon tells him, and he's like, hey buddy, how you doing? Yeah, no, we got her safe. And this guy doesn't trust Andor, so he starts to lift his weapon, and then Andor just shoots him. And Mon is like, what are you doing? He's like, dude, we gotta go. There's no time. We gotta just leave. So they get in the car, they leave. I like this theme of, I don't know if it's happened at every arc, at the ending of every arc, but this theme of like, we're in a ship, we're flying away from a planet. It's like this character's closing a chapter and going towards the next chapter. It's happened in the first arc in season 1 several times throughout this show, and it happens again here. I think it's why it reminded me of episode 1 of season 1, because the walkways and Andor flying away in Luthen's ship at the end of those 3. So that's this block of episodes. Syril's dead. Ghorman's massacred, genocided. Mon says it was a genocide, says it was Palpatine's fault. He's the beast coming to eat everyone. The appetite will never be satiated. And we're off to Yavin. We get a little epilogue here of Andor. Not epilogue, it's part of the episode. But they say like, oh, I don't know when this happens exactly. Like they get to actually Andor's safe house on Coruscant, where him and Bix were holed up for a while. Kayla's there. That's Luthen's assistant. Willem and his girl got out of Ghorman, so he's injured, but like they're gonna be good. And Mothma has this scene with Andor where like, is it always like this? She's like, you seem to know your way around this place. He's like, yeah, I lived here for a while. She's like, it's always like this, huh? I was like, yeah, welcome to the rebellion. She says, I don't think I can do, as they're like leaving this, I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the place, but as they're leaving the Senate building, she's like, I don't think I can do this. And he's like, welcome to the rebellion. Like, I've been saying that over and over again. It's just this great moment of like, yeah, that's what it is. It's hard. It's hard, and you don't know if you can do it, but you just do it because you know it has to be done. So there's a moment where Andor's talking with like a rebel lieutenant, and he's like, yeah, we're passing like Mon Safe Gold Squadron is going to take her to Yavin. And if you've watched Star Wars Rebels, you know that that's the Ghost crew. And so I did actually watch that episode after these three. And tonally, obviously, it's very different. It's a cartoon show. It's made more for kids. But it's the same voice actor. Like, the actress who plays Mon Mothma does the voice for her in the show. So tonally, it was very strange to go from Andor to like Rebels, but it still works. And she gives another speech, broadcasting more like directly to the rebellion, saying like, rallying the forces here. So that was a nice little post-credit thing that I did on my own. But what happens in the episode is Andor is sitting with Bix at home again and tells her like, we're done. I'm done. I'm finished. I just want to live with you. This moment is what's important. This between us. And it kind of mirrors what he said to the Imperial spy in episode 1 of this season when she was helping him steal the TIE fighter. Being like, this moment, this interpersonality, this is what matters. This is what the rebellion is for. Being free. Being free for yourself, not for us, not to save people you don't know, but for yourself, for your conscience. And this is mirrored here in this scene with Bix saying like, I've done what I can. I've given all I should. I want to live a happy life with you. And that's it. They go to sleep. They wake up. Andor finds that Bix is gone and that there's a message for him on their table messenger machine. And she says that she left because she realizes that the rebellion needs him and she can't be the reason he quits. So she's going to leave for a while, and when the fighting's over and they've won, she'll come and find him, which is tragic because we know he dies on Scarif. But it's kind of nice to know that maybe Bix is still alive out there. And maybe she could show up in one of these Mando shows going forward. Who knows? But it's heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking. But it does give me warmth that she lives. She didn't die tragically because she's not in Rogue One. So we have to have a reason that she's not there. And I like this reason better than she's dead. I don't need another Vel and Sintra situation. Speaking of Vel and Sintra, Vel shows up in these episodes very briefly, but kind of implies that her and Bix have built a friendship. She's living on Yavin. She's glad she doesn't have to hide anymore on Coruscant or Chandrila. She's just living on Yavin, and she seems much more at peace, even though she's still, of course, hurting because of her dead lover. We get this cool moment where they're handing out weapons to like new rebel soldiers, and she picks up a gun. There's no words spoken. She picks up a gun, she touches it. It's clear this was Cinta's gun. She's like reminiscing, and she turns around to these soldiers and asks, who does this gun belong to? And the guy raises his hand and says, that's mine. And it's Melshi from Narkina 5 and Rogue One. So he's here now. He's on Yavin. We got Melshi where he needs to be. Andor is walking around looking for Bix, trying to find out like where she went, if he can go chase her. She made sure to cover her tracks because she knows him. And while he's out in the airfield, a soldier runs up and is like, hey, that droid that you brought back, we kind of got it up and running. So he's goes to see them turn on the droid. The guy who's turning it on is like, you might want to stand back. He's like, give me a fucking gun. Because he's so mad. He wants to shoot something. And they have the guns trained on it just in case this reprogramming doesn't work. Which they even say, it's not really reprogramming. It's just moving wires around. Like, we're inhibiting impulses. I don't know. It's just these little moments, these little character moments. Even this guy whose job it is to reprogram droids gets a moment where we understand who that character is a little bit. This show is written so fucking well. Sorry. So they turn on K2SO. He jolts a little bit and then turns and he's like, if I have offended you, please, my apologies. I'd like you to put your guns down if you don't mind. Because, and so they do. And that's where it ends. That's where these 3 episodes end. We got K2 in the show. I'm presuming these next 3, the last 3, are going to show him and Andor working together. I am speechless after these 3. I implore you all to watch the Star Wars Andor Declassified on YouTube, where they go into detail about how they made this show, these episodes specifically. They drop one at the end of each batch. The moments that we get with these characters. And like I said, importantly, every little character. The Imperial commander of the troop that was just there to be cannon fodder. He gets moments where we understand who he is. He is a soldier. He is a drill sergeant, a commanding officer. But he's still like, wait a minute. These guys clearly aren't ready for a battle. What are you doing? But he'll still follow orders. Dedra even says that to Syril at a certain point. When Syril confronts her and is like, what has the plan been this whole time? You've lied to me. This wasn't the plan. She says, what we're doing, we're following orders. And that's, of course, famously what the Nazis said in Nuremberg to defend themselves. This is a story about anti-fascism. There's a story about rebellion. There's a story about fuck the police. There's a story about genocide and what to do about it, what the appropriate response is. And that is to fight back. Bail Organa stays on Coruscant to basically be a hostage. And, you know, we know how he goes. I wish they had Jimmy Smits here. That's my only little nitpick. What is his name? Brett? Something Brett. Dominic Brett? I don't know. He was from Miss Congeniality. He's playing Bail. Maybe there was just a scheduling conflict, but I wish they had Jimmy Smits because this was his moment. Just was the Jimmy Smits moment. The Bail Organa moment. So I wish he got to play the character like Mon Mothma did here. Because she was in Revenge of the Sith, this actress, and her scenes got cut. She was in Rogue One, and she, you know, briefly appeared and did her thing, but she didn't get a lot to do. She's, of course, the voice on Rebels, and she did her thing there, but again, as an actress, you want to be able to use your whole body, and she gets to in this show. Mon Mothma is like the star of this show. It's low-key. She better get fucking awards. At least talk for this role. This show better get some awards, man. Oh my god. But even if without awards, this is the greatest show on television. Like, South Park is my favorite, ultimately. Just has always been. But like right now, in this moment, past couple years, this is the best show on television. I don't care if it's Star Wars. I don't care if it's Star Wars, comic book shit. Some people look down on that and like, oh, it's for kids. Oh, it's not that serious, whatever. It's Disney. I get it. It's a big multinational corporation. I don't want to praise Disney. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm praising the writers and the showrunners for getting this past Disney. Like, I don't think Disney realizes what they have here. Clearly they don't. They only let it have 2 seasons. But they got it. They got it out. They got the SA scene. They got the genocide. They got to say genocide. I can't wait to see how this thing ends. I don't want it to end. I wish we had 5 seasons of this. But, oh my god, this is the greatest show on television. Please watch it. I know it's spoilers, but like, oh my god. Just watch this show. Watch this show. Please. Please. And learn from it. Because we are in a moment now in real life that we are going to need to learn from this show. Anyways, have a good day. Peace out. We are the Ghor. We are the Ghor.